Hey, today we're gonna have the eternal truths. Imagine waking up to find your bedroom filling up with the smoke, your house is on fire, and your partner laid at side of you won't roost. You have to make a quick decision. Do you stay trying to wake him up and risking your own life in the process, or do you leave him behind, potentially facing a life without him? That's a real decision that you have to make in one possible timeline of the eternal truths. Thankfully, there is also a timeline where you get both out alive, but another could see you both die, along with your 4 other housemates. That's how Eternal 3 starts actually, with the 6 dead housemates all perishing in a devastating house fire. It's your job, as a time-traveling agent from the future, to manipulate the timeline in order to save as many of them as you can. It's a bizarre plot, admittedly, and once you're into the 90 grids of this narrative-driven puzzle adventure, it's easy to forget the sci-fi core that runs through the middle of the eternal threads. You see, if the future you've come from, a catastrophic event has corrupted the timeline, causing endless casualties. Your concern is the wider picture, however. You just need to focus on the lives of the 6 people who have perished in a Lancashire house fire. The very nature of the eternal threads central mechanic, changing the course of the time, means that it can't exist without that sci-fi backbone. But only for fleeting moments does this feel like a science fiction tale. The 6 housemates you will be concerning yourself without could be more grounded in reality. Ultimately, this is a very human tale about 21st century people you will undoubtedly empathize with at numerous of levels. Take Neil from the instance. He is a young university student studying to keep his emotions in check. He keeps getting into the fights because he can't control the anger. There is the Jenny and Ben, a young couple, once a junior doctor, one a student, feeling their way through life and trying to imagine what their future is going to look like. Then you got Linda, Neil's older sister, who's running away from a rocky marriage. There's also Rachel, a seemingly happy-go-lucky art student, but she weighted down by something tragic in the past. Finally, there is a landlord Tom. He seems a little sketchy, but it's clear he's weighing down by something too. Except none of them are alive anymore. Until you come along, that is. The change of the trajectories, and so your time with the eternal threads will be spent jumping between 200 events over the course of the 7-day period leading up to the fire. You explore the house, and so each individual character isn't necessarily solely responsible for their own fate. These 6 people live together, and their lives are connected in sometimes unacceptable ways. How you tackle eternal threads is down to you. Perhaps you want to be a methodological, trying to save one person at a time, jumping between the events in the timeline that are parented to them. Or maybe you want to work in the chronological order, meticulously soaking up each possible scene. You could jump around randomly if you wanted. There is no right or wrong way, and the game packs its numerous tools to allow you to play how you want. You can filter the timeline, for instance, seeing only events that contain a specific housemate, and holding down a button will let you see which events link together. A very useful tool when you're trying to uncover currently located scenes. Not everyone is available to you right off the bat, of course, because depending on your choices, not every scene will actually happen. Many of them are simply potential events. What is particularly clever is the way Eternal Threads reads the previous events. There is a bike in the house halfway, for instance, but depending on the choices you make, the bike might get stolen. Suddenly the bike is no longer in the house. The same goes for locked doors and inaccessible areas of the house. Find a key or a passcode in a playback from the timeline, and you suddenly find you can get something new. And exploring the house is just as important as viewing events from the timeline. As the time-traveling agent, you are able to move around the house. No seeing at letters, personal belongings and text messages conversation. Not everything you see is going to help change the fate of the housemates, but it all goes the same way to understand each character. Because once you spend a bit of time with them, Eternal Threads isn't just about saving them, it's about getting to know them and uncovering their secrets. It's impossible not to care for each character, even the ones you have initially reservations about. Each and every one of them has been incredibly well written and acted, leaving them feeling more real and tangible than most video games characters. Perhaps it's because the Northern England setting brings it closer to the home, or perhaps it's because the troubles that each one faces are ground and relatable. It feels like a soap opera at the times, and that isn't meant as negative. Some of the scenes you might find yourself watching Eternal Thread's timeline are so mundane, so normal, like a random conversation between two friends. When the drama does unfold, it's never more than an argument or a heated discussion. The lives of the people in the house, you find yourself in the completely ordinary, but that itself is extraordinary. Eternal Thread's sci-fi slant may take you by surprise and initially gets you hooks in you, but in the same humdrum stories of the sick characters you are trying to save that will ultimately keep you gripped for your screen. I'll take you around 9 hours to complete, but you likely won't want it to the end. Even you are comfortable in the knowledge that everyone is safe and alive. These people will feel more real and believable than most other video games characters you have encountered, even though they're simply holograms on your screen. You won't have played anything like Eternal Threads before, and unless the Cosmonaut Studios makes us follow up, you likely never will again. It's a remarkable piece of storytelling, expertly written and crafted, weaving together the ordinary and futuristic to create something incredibly compelling. You won't put it down, and once you are finished, you will be thinking about for weeks to come. It's truly something special. Thank you for watching for this short review. Have a good one. Bye bye.